beforehand, just since there's so many folks on here. All right. The first item on the agenda is the call to order. And it looks like we've met our quorum. All right. So the Commission on Out-of-School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes is called to order at 6:06 p.m. Now, just a reminder for the technology. Again, this is, I believe, our second or third meeting with Microsoft Teams. So it is a little bit different from WebEx as we were previously using. So when it is time for public commentary, individuals can raise your hands if you'd like to speak, or use the chat box to inform us that you'd like to speak. And the OST team will unmute you and notify you when you can speak. If a commissioner is unmuted for conversation, please just put yourselves on mute when not speaking to reduce background noise so that we can all stay focused and make sure we're taking good notes. Once again, when making or seconding a motion, please identify yourself so that we can keep track of who's who for the minutes. And as usual, all votes will be taken via roll call. The next item on the agenda is the public comment. Do we have any public speakers for today? Okay, I don't think so. Okay, sounds good. Well, if any public member speakers join and would like to speak, please feel free to let us know in real time and can make some adjustments.
Chair Peacock.
Yes.
As you go through the slides, you may want to alert Olade to move through the slides. He's not sure, I don't think, when each slide goes from one page to the next, so it's still on the title page.
Olade, can you transition to slide 5? Thank you. One more. Let's see. Sorry, can you go back to the other direction? Sorry. Announcement of quorum. It should say Olade.
Olade, can you come off mute and let us know if you're able to navigate the slides to slide 5? Not agenda item 5, but slide 5. Rob, I know he was having a slow internet connection, so you may need to pull up the slide and take over.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Olade, are you having some issues? Do you want me to take it over? I think you're on mute.
Yes, sure. You can take the slides over.
Okay.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah,
No problem. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes.
So we were on, so it's slide 5, but agenda item number 3, the announcement of quorum. Yep, go back. There we go. Announcement of quorum. Perfect. Okay, great. So now we're going to take a roll call attendance for our quorum. Let me pull the list back up. Okay. Now for the roll call, Commissioner Berkey.
Present.
Thank you. Welcome. Great to hear from you. Commissioner Coates. Okay. I don't see his name in the chat. Commissioner Crump.
Here.
Thank you. Welcome. Commissioner Desir.
Present.
Thank you. And my apologies if I mispronounce any names. Please feel free to correct me. Commissioner Hanson. Not seeing him in the chat. Commissioner Hill.
Good evening, I'm here.
Good evening. Thank you. Commissioner Jenkins.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Jordan. Okay, not seeing her. Commissioner Peeler. Okay, not seeing her. Commissioner Saffron.
Here.
Thank you. Welcome. Commissioner Siegel. Okay, not seeing her today. Commissioner Taylor. Okay. All right. Great. Okay. So it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, okay. So looks like we have 7 for today. So we've not yet reached our quorum. Oh,
Excuse me,
Commissioner. Thank you.
Chair,
Yep.
Chair Peacock.
Yes.
Commissioner Siegel is currently out of town, but she should be joining us remotely. She might
Okay.
be having challenges with internet access, but we're hoping she might join.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for the update.
No problem.
No problem if she ends up unable to join. Luckily, Commissioner Peeler just joined us, so we reached our quorum right in time. So that's perfect. But of course, we would love to hear from Commissioner Siegel if she is able to. All right. Great. All right, great. So we have met our quorum. Now, commissioners, for the next item, can you please review the agenda? And once it's been reviewed, please make a motion to approve the agenda.
Hello, this is Commissioner Peeler. I motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner Peeler, and welcome.
This
All
is
right,
Commissioner Saffron, and I second it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Commissioner Saffron. All right. One sec to pull the votes back up. Okay, and is there any discussion on the agenda before we vote? Okay, we're gonna do a roll call vote one more time. Those who approve, please say approve. Those who abstain, please say abstain. And those who oppose, please say oppose. Commissioner Berkey.
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Crump.
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Desir. Commissioner Desir. see. Okay, we'll come back to her. Okay, Commissioner Hill.
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Jenkins.
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Peeler.
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Saffron.
Approve.
Thank you. Okay, great. So this motion passes with one abstaining and the rest all approving. Great. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Once again, this will be taken in roll call style. So, commissioners, a draft version of the minutes from our last meeting in March have been provided. Please take a look and let us know if there are any changes or revisions to the minutes. If no changes, once you've had a chance to review it, please, one of you make a motion to approve it so we can keep things rolling.
This is Commissioner Berkey. I move to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Berkey. Okay, sounds good. Any seconds to that motion?
Commissioner Jenkins, a second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, great. So Commissioner Berkey approves. Commissioner Crump.
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Desir.
Approve.
Thank you. And sorry, am I saying your name correctly? Okay. Commissioner Hill.
Approve.
Thank you, sir. And Commissioner Jenkins approves. Commissioner Peeler.
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Saffron.
Approve.
Thank you. Okay, great. So the minutes have been unanimously approved. Okay, great. This brings us to the next item on the agenda, which will be Kevin's updates from the OST office. So Kevin, whenever you're ready, please take it over for us.
Thank you, Chairperson Peacock. Good evening, everyone. Some updates from the Institute for Youth Development. Currently, we are now at where we have hosted over 42 events in professional development and workshops, achieving 42% of our overall goal for the fiscal year. And we've hit 464 unduplicated attendees, achieving 55% of our overall goal for fiscal 23. We're definitely right on target compared to last fiscal year. So I'm very confident that we will definitely achieve and or hopefully exceed this goal for fiscal 23. Definitely receiving a lot of requests now for trainings, even from some new organizations that we have not serviced before. So it's a really good sign that we're moving in the right direction. We're definitely plugging away and continuing to conduct program site visits of fiscal 23 for the school year grantees. It's been exciting to go out and actually do almost 98% of our site visits from an in-person standpoint this year. So the team has been really busy getting this done. We have a couple more weeks to go before the end of the school year. So I'm confident that we will achieve, like I said, about 98% of those. We unfortunately did miss a few this year where programming ended earlier than when we were able to actually schedule those. But we're still in good standing in regards to where we are with our site visits. And of course, we'll turn right around and start doing summer site visits within the next month or so as well. With our quality cohort, participants attended the Planning with Data workshop and are currently working on their performance improvement plans. We will be hosting them one more time on June the 5th for the final workshop for the cohort, which is the quality coaching workshop, where our cohort leaders will come together, learn a lot of touch points in regards to encouraging staff to embrace the cohort component, the quality initiative, and moving forward then with implementing the goals for their performance improvement plan overall. So we're moving right along and already planning for fiscal 24 right now, and happy to take any questions that anyone might have. All right, well, thanks so much for allowing me to provide an update for the Institute, and I will turn it over to my colleague Gaurav.
Thank you for the great work, Kevin.
Thanks, Chairperson, appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin. Can everybody hear me? I just tried to come off mute. Okay, and can you still see the screen as well? Okay, great. So we have a couple of very exciting announcements for the data team. So the first is that we hired a new data analyst, Olaide, and he started on May 8th. And we're really very excited to have him join the team. As you all know, we've had the opening for quite a long time, so we're really happy to have him. And I'll actually hand it over to him to do a brief introduction. Is there a slide here for this? Oh, go ahead, Olaide.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here. Hello, the commissioners. Hello to the chairperson. I've been welcomed very well by the team. They're a great team, and they've been very supportive for the first few weeks I've been there. And it looks like an exciting project. I'm very happy to be part of it. And I feel that this team is capable of delivering every goal set by the stakeholders. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Olaide. Yeah, I'm really excited to work with him personally as well. And then our second very exciting piece of news is that we finally integrated our RFA system into CitySpan. So this has been a goal of ours for quite some time to allow for just a more seamless experience for all of our grantees so that they can apply for their grant and manage the grant through the same website. And on our end as well, this should definitely improve the experience for the grant managers who can now also administer any sort of, and really manage the entire grant through CitySpan. And so it's going to allow us to, better import data and better manage data, because now it's all going to be housed in one place. And then I just wanted to also give a special shout out to Shanna Sampson. She's our supervisory grants management specialist, and she was in all of the data meetings with CitySpan, and she really took a lot of her time to give them a very extensive explanation of how our grant application system works, and help them build it up basically from the ground up. So very, very big thank you to Shanna and really to the whole team, because this was a group effort. So we're very excited for that. And I'll go ahead and pause here if there are any questions. All right, well, hearing none, I'll go ahead and
I think that Gaurav was passing that over to me. So good evening, Chair Peacock and members of the commission. I am standing in for Alex, who continues to be on paternity leave. And so I have an update around out of school time communications that is in relation to after school in the city. Similar to summer in the city, it is slated for Saturday, September 9th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We are still determining the venue, and more information will be shared as it becomes available and logistics are confirmed. But the purpose of after school in this city is to create connections with and for community members across the district, especially our parents, so that they are aware of and abreast of their after school programming options and how they can register for those programs. Any questions in regards to after school in the city? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give you an update in regards to our 2023 grants and 2024, which are underway. So we were fully staffed for a brief moment, maybe a month, and then we lost 2 GMS members. So we are interviewing. We have extended an offer to 1 position, and a new posting should be submitted to seek additional qualified candidates any day. So we hope to be fully staffed again soon and ready to roll for FY24 with a full and dedicated team. For Summer Strong DC grants, all award letters went out and we have executed nearly all 44 grant agreements. There's a couple we're waiting to execute. When Dr. Lowe returns from her much deserved vacation next week, we hope to execute those final grant agreements and be ready to roll for 2023 Summer Strong. We did launch our FY24 out of school time. We collapsed several applications into one, and that was our first attempt at really streamlining the out of school time grant administrative process, not only through CitySpan, but again through collapsing multiple competitions into one RFA process so that the timeline is consistent across all of the grant competitions. And so that launched on May 17th. We had our information session with over 100 attendees yesterday, May 24th, and the RFA is scheduled to close on June 14th. We will be opening our FY special competition RFAs, and that's for college and career mentorship, students in care of DC, and scholarships for out of school time programming. Those all 3 will open next Wednesday, May 31st, and then close. I'm sorry, I should say that we're going to have an information session on those the following week, June 7th, and then those are scheduled to close June 28th. So across the month of July, we will be scoring those grant awards with announcements for all of our grants being made in August so that we can then get those agreements executed and be ready to roll October 1. And I do see Commissioner Berkey that you have your hand up, so I'll stop there and accept your question.
I was wondering, in a previous commission meeting, we talked a little bit about the challenge of finding grant reviewers. And as you're talking about all of these competitions opening, I wondered kind of where are we with that effort?
Yes.
And I also wanted to spotlight Wednesday, June 7th, I think is a big day for the OST office. Is that not the hearing at the council?
It is. It is the hearing
busy
at the
day
council.
for you guys.
Yes. But yes, your question around reviewers is spot on. So thank you for continuing to hold that up. We have a meeting on Tuesday with administrators at the DME office, both Kimetha Payton and I, as we are attempting to put out to establish a contract with reviewers against a very short timeline. We are hoping that that would be possible because if you think about the number of applications that we've received across these various competitions, we're looking at about 200 applications with 3 reviews, independent reviews each. 600 independent reviews would subdue our office. So we are definitely looking at that as well as looking at other volunteer outreach opportunities. Dr. Lowe is working with universities and internally across not only the DME, but other agencies to recruit volunteers.
Well, good luck with that. It seems like something that you know, it could bury you if you're not, if you don't get the extra help you need.
Any other questions as related to 2023 and 24 grant updates?
This is Commissioner Hill.
Good evening.
Good evening. I don't have a question, but I just think that you guys have jumped in there with your sleeves rolled up and doing a lot of transition period. And we're getting a lot of concerns from a lot of our grantees regarding payments. And I know it's been very challenging, but I'm just glad to see that you, the team is making some progress in terms of the new staff onboarding, staff leaving. I'm sorry to hear you lost 2 more grant managers in the last 30 days. Just seemed like you guys are getting things up rolling and getting really pushing it. I know our grant manager, Mark, is doing a phenomenal job. I envy you guys for the position. No, I just appreciate it. That the government is very serious about trying to make these mandates and to deal with the clients that receive OST support.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. And let me just take the moment to say the staff that we do have are spectacular. We are a strong and committed team, and we have been able to do a lot in just the last 3.5 months maybe that I've been here and that they've been here. We're all new. Other than Kevin on this team, we are all brand new. So and that just really speaks to the quality of this team, and we will continue to grow it, and to continuous improvement is the way of this team. So thank you. If there's no other questions, I will hand it over to my colleague, Kimitha, who will certainly talk about all of those payments that she's been able to get out to our grantees in a very timely manner. Kimitha?
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to give an update on our allocations. As you can see, the first slide here shows our award amounts, the payments we have invoiced, and the remaining amounts that we have in March. We have had some improvements since then. We've had more payouts, more invoices come in, and where our remaining balance has gone down. If you can switch to the next slide. As you can see, the total invoice has increased to 13 million. We've had more orgs do their initial disbursement. That was up from 85 to now we're at 111 orgs that have put in their invoices for their first disbursement. We have a number of organizations who have also done their first, second, and some have even done their third and have invoiced out. So we have people that have been paid out of for their invoices. And we have seen the total payments go up, and I'm working on that to make sure that everybody gets their invoices in a timely fashion. Some of it, most of it is out of my control. As I approve them, they go through a different process, and I don't have control of that process, but I am working to make sure that once it comes to our office, it gets out of our office in a timely manner so we can improve that 30-day turnaround. As of right now, that's the process that we have in place. So you can see there has been an improvement in total, the invoices coming in and payments going out. And I'm looking to make sure that our remaining balance goes down so we get funding for next year. So we can ensure that we have funding for next year and the years to come, because they see that when they'll give us the money, we spend it. So that's why our big push in the office, to make sure that once we get the grant money, that the money is spent down and we can continue to get money for the future years. I'm open now to take questions from the floor.
Again, Commissioner Hill, and thank you, Kimitha, for that update. Really excited to see and hear those resources getting into the hands of the providers who are able to bring forth the services that are necessary in our communities. Can you share with me a little bit about how the POs are supposed to flow? What is the process? Because I really don't understand. I mean, I know that different things go in the DC vendor portal and things change hands in terms of actually generating different items in this process. But can you speak to the procedure for the POs?
Oh, no problem. Once you receive your PO number, you'll receive that in the DC vendor portal. And that'll show up in
wait a minute. I'm sorry. Just back up a little bit. Where do you get it from, and when do you get it? How long does it take to get a PO out the door? Who does that? Who's responsible for the organization getting a PO number?
Once you have received your executed grant agreement, that agreement is sent to Dr. Lowe sends it to me, and I input that to make a requisition. The requisition goes into our system. It goes through a set of approvals, and then I can't give you a timeline because it just depends. But within a couple of weeks, that'll flip into a PO number. That PO number will then show up in the DC vendor portal. If you are registered for the portal, you will see your PO number show up in the portal. In very few cases, that PO number, sometimes it has to be pushed on our end. It's just the systems didn't connect to talk to each other. But generally, the PO number will show up once the PO has been approved in our system. So that goes through a number of approvals out of my hands through different reviewers. So once you receive your PO number, you're open to invoice, and that's coming through communication with your grant manager to submit your invoices. You must submit your invoice first to your grant management specialist. They will approve the invoice before I approve it in the system, before you can put it into the vendor portal. That's an important step to ensure that your invoice gets approved the first go around and not having to be rejected and start over. Because once you reject it and start over, that increases the timeline. Because if you don't have your invoice approved by your grant manager, it's going to sit in the portal and it's not going to be approved. So it's just sitting there and it's not doing anything. So that's why we're stressing now it's important to have your invoice reviewed and approved by your grant management specialist first, so that we can catch any errors or mistakes or things that I'm seeing as I come, because I'm new, as I'm seeing things come in and I've seen rejections happen. Like we had one rejection for the length of the invoice number. It was past a certain character limit, so that invoice had to be rejected. So we had to start that process over. But things like that, our grant management specialists can catch, and we can get that before you put that into the vendor portal. And then I see the invoice and I have to reject it. So once you submit it to your grant management specialist, they'll approve it, just reject it, or tell you what to fix. You can put it into the vendor portal, and it'll come to me in our pass system. And what I'll do, I'll double check, make sure, because you want to make sure everything's correct. Either approve or reject. If I approve it, it goes through another approval flow. That's when once you put it in the vendor portal, that's when your 30 business day clock starts. So that's why I try to get your invoices in and out so you can get your payments quicker. So that goes through another approval flow. Hopefully you'll get that as soon as possible. I know things happen, holidays come up, or other stuff that may take place that takes place out of the control of our office. But once it's in our office, I try to get the invoices out within 5 days, 5 business days, to make sure that you get your invoices paid out on time and in a quicker time limit. From there, that's basically the process. Some issues that we've come across are just systems issues. We've had some issues where we've had organizations not show up in the supply list, so that adds on to the time frame, because you have to submit paperwork to have your name pop up in the supply list. Or if you switched how you want your payment received from paper check to ACH payment, that's a process, because you have to submit paperwork and it has to be approved before your payment can go out. So there are other factors that may come into play. Once I approve it and it goes through approval flow, and I get that email saying we can't approve this because this and this happened, and I have to reach back out to the organization to get that information. So that a lot takes place within the time that you submit your invoice to your grant management specialist and into the vendor portal. A lot is taking place, and I'm just making sure that once it leaves our office, it's smooth sailing, that is nothing on our end that we have to fix, and it's just invoices in, invoice approved, go through approval flow, approved, checks, ACH payments sent out within a timely manner, and we can continue spending and get our remaining balance down to 0.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very, very helpful. Thank you for walking us through those processes and procedures. I really appreciate it, and the hard work that you're doing to get that down to 0 with regard to the resource allocations and everything. Do you see a way in streamlining that process? Because sometimes people feel the government makes things so complicated, and I recognize it has to go through its checks and balances. But you sound, in a very short amount of time that you've been there, sound like you got a good handle on it. So that is a whole lot. I mean, it took you 10 minutes to tell me that. And, so I was saying, government sometimes make things so difficult for a really small business, and they don't have the capabilities to follow through all that. They just really trying to get resources. I'm just asking you, do you see a way of skipping some of those steps? Maybe that's not for you to answer, but I just think that we should consider, streamlining some of these processes because it's just a whole lot.
We can definitely take any suggestions on how the process can be streamlined. The process as it has been established, that's not my decision or my call, but us working together, making sure that everything is straight when we submit it. It helps streamline the process even more, just to make sure, and we're catching errors as quick as we can, getting the invoices in and out, nothing sitting in the boxes, because that's one big part of the slowdown, just having things sitting, just making sure things aren't sitting. And that's just the DC process as of right now. But if there are any suggestions on how to improve that process, you can always email me, just let me know, just any suggestions that we can have. We can definitely bring it up to the powers that be to ensure that we're getting your funds to you. We're not holding on to it. We're not doing anything else with it, just to make sure we get the funds to you.
Yeah, I don't know if it's for some training. I mean, if you're getting a lot of kickback on your end from the grantors, regarding not submitting to you the appropriate information that you need, you may consider some training. Yeah, maybe that's something we'll pick up on our committee as well. I know Commissioner Crump with us, and you work with us as well. We appreciate your support with the funding and capacity building sessions that we have. Maybe we can continue this conversation there, just to make sure that the grantees are submitting everything to your office that's necessary. So thank you. That's very helpful. You have really made my head swim. So thank you so much.
Oh, no problem at all. And just to piggyback off what you said, I do intend on having a information session on the invoicing and also insurance process, but most importantly, as of right now, because we're talking about resource allocation invoicing, I want to do that at the start of the before the start of FY24, so everyone have a better understanding of how to submit their invoices, the process, and to make sure that we have everybody on the same accord once we start FY24.
Kimitha, can I say something real quick?
Yes.
We are in the process, and Commissioner Hill and Commissioner Crump, yesterday you saw that as we're, automating everything through CitySpan, all of the information that will roll over, we set exact prompts on the questions that are being asked, just to give context for the grant application, so that those smaller nonprofits that don't have grant writers on staff know how, they have to answer each question in order to move forward, so that they are becoming more competitive in the grant process. And all of that will roll over into the data management system. I say that to say that we are also then, the next step is to build out everything into CitySpan. So there will be an invoice template with everything, just like with the grant application, that needs to be in an invoice or is rejected. You get an error message, etc. And then once that's the GMS can just approve it right there. It can be printed as a PDF and uploaded into DC Pass. That is what we're looking to do for FY24. Again, a lot of system building, all of this to be rolled out for FY24. We're still in this more archaic model for the rest of FY23. But another part of that is that we will be implementing quarterly payments. So there will not be a reimbursement process in which grantees are having to show us all of their receipts and invoices and everything at various percentages in order to get another percentage. We're going to institute quarterly payments at the beginning of each quarter. You are front loaded the grant amount for that next quarter, pending, compliancy in all grant areas. As long as that your attendance is in, et cetera, you will automatically be front loaded for that next quarter's payment that will be, again, that quarterly amount will be automatically updated into the invoice, into CitySpan. So it's just going to get rid of a lot of that user error because everything will be automated. So I think that things will be much better in FY24. So just wanted to add that point. And I believe Commissioner Berkey had her hand up.
Yeah, I did because I just wanted to second how complex the system is, and it's a system that we have to use as, because I work for DC Public Schools. Even when we want to buy crayons for the after-school program, we're going through this same procurement process that Kimitha described, and and just getting a purchase order out the door can take a long time with a lot of variables that can influence things, kind of as Kimitha alluded to, just getting stuck somewhere. You have to do a lot of monitoring, and very often these things are completely out of your control. So I just want to second that it's a very challenging process. It sounds like there are some streamlined approaches coming down the pike as long as they are conform to federal procurement requirements, which is what we're all bound by. And I think that, even making the advanced payments to people on a quarterly basis would make a tremendous difference to organizations.
Thank you. Are there any more questions? Any other questions? Okay, with that, if not, I will pass it back to Shanna.
Thank you, Kimitha. I'm just going to provide some additional updates for Dr. Lowe. As I mentioned, she is on a much-deserved vacation this week, so kudos to her. Out-of-school time hearing with council is scheduled for June 7th. Again, a very busy day for us, June 7th, 2023. If you are inclined to do so, please tune in and testify as a form of support for the out-of-school time office and programming in general. My after-school DC working groups have been established and will begin meeting in early June to serve in an advisory capacity to the out-of-school time office's leadership team. With that, if there are no questions, I should pause.
I have a question.
Yes.
Commissioner Jenkins. So this is sort of related to the council hearing, but so there was an out-of-school time special education inclusion and standards amendment act that is currently under council review. I just wanted to know, when bills are under review and they come out, do we as a commission discuss them? Do we ever have an official or unofficial opinion, or is that solely the OST office, or is that a Dr. Lowe question?
It isn't a question that I would be able to answer.
Okay.
I don't know if any of the other commissioners or anyone else would have any insight into that. It's a great question.
This Commissioner Hill again. We've been discussing, even with Commissioner Crump in our committee, about those types of decisions that are being made, and we're not privy to any of the conversations or any of the information necessarily that comes out. I mean, if we follow it along, it's public information, so we can be a little more aggressive on our end. But I think that that's a great question from our Commissioner Jenkins. And so, yeah, we would like to hear a follow-up. We would like to get, yeah, I know our committee wants an answer to that in terms of if we need to get it from Dr. Lowe. What responsibility does this commission have in terms of feedback, getting information, or having an opportunity to reflect on what's being submitted to not only the DC Council, but other decisions that are made through the OST office? Because you know, we a lot of people in our community are like, we don't even know what's going on half the time. So we're not always privy to a lot of different conversations. Thank you.
I know that's come down, if we're talking about the Henderson Act, I think that that has just come down on our office as well. And Deputy Mayor Kine has been working with Dr. Lowe to address that very topic in the June 7th meeting. And we will be addressing it as part of the My After School DC working groups, to which several of you are a part of. Beyond that, I agree that we need to set up, protocol for communication with the commissioners on these type of things as they come down the pipe.
Sure, that would be helpful. I know with the DC Public Charter School Board, we have a government relations team. I'm in intergovernmental relations, but our government relations team just makes us privy to the types of bills that come out. And since I am on this commission, I just wanted to know if we have an official or unofficial opinion as it relates to this inclusion, the Special Education Inclusion Amendment Act. But maybe we can discuss that further in another time. So thank you so much.
Thank you for that very important question. Any other questions? Kevin, yes, please share.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, Commissioner Jenkins, for bringing that up. And as Commissioner Berkey mentioned in the chat, this actually, I think, is our first time where we're facing this type of component with legislation since we've been established as an office. So I think it's something, as our team, Shanna, you and I in particular, should bring back to Dr. Lowe for discussion overall. So just being one of the long timers here, this honestly is the first time that we're like dealing with this.
Thank you, Kevin. Commissioner Berkey.
I just wanted to add that I think it would be interesting and useful for us to understand the role of other commissions in the city vis-a-vis legislation that pertains to their area of advisory function or whatever it is, because I think this there must be a common practice in regard to this and how commissions are engaged in any legislation that comes forward in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Commissioner Crump?
Yeah, sorry. I just want to ditto and emphasize what Commissioner Hill said in regards not just to this legislation, but just like in general for us as community members and the communities that we deal with, the other executive directors that we engage with, just us knowing like certain information. I feel like sometimes we get it after the fact. For instance, and you guys weren't even here for this part, but like one year capacity builder funds came out and we found out when everybody else found out. So for us, it's like people may look at us and say, hey, what's going on here? But we really don't have the information because we're finding out these processes as it happens. So now we're trying to mitigate, in ways as a commissioner, but then also as community members. I just think, I guess for me, I'm curious about that question as well. How do we navigate that? How do we make sure that the line of communication is clear so we have the information to then provide that to our constituents when it's made public information, rather than it just all being coming down at one time and we're like, well, I didn't know anything about this. I can't give you my opinion on it. And then we have to go back to the drawing board. So I just think that that information, and I guess that would come from Dr. Lowe, as you said. I just am really curious to how we can stay in the loop on those type of things.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And as Kevin said, we will certainly take that back to Dr. Lowe. And as we establish other procedures for improvement, a more seamless communication channel with the commissioners is one that we will be looking at. There are no other questions. I'll turn it back over to Chairman Peacock.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for all the wonderful updates. Sounds like a lot of great things going on with the office. So really excited to hear that. I'll try to be in attendance to that June 7th hearing. And commissioners, it would be great if we could support the office in that. Let's see. Now Next item is the draft OST strategic plan has been included in your meeting materials. We are now at the juncture of where public commentary is ready to be solicited from May to August of 2023, with the final plan being brought to the Commission in September 2023 for final approval. These dates are subject to change based on how the process goes, so just want to mention that. Okay, commissioners, if you've not already, can you please take a moment to review the publication of the draft OST strategic plan for public commentary? And whenever ready, please motion to approve that draft strategic plan.
Commissioner Peacock, are we going to have any further discussion on the document before we move to approve it for public comment? Or
Yeah,
will we use the period of public comment for a deeper discussion on our end as well?
I would say the latter, but Shanna, do you have any feedback on that one? Oh, you're on mute.
My apologies. I would just agree with your sentiment, Chair Peacock, that my understanding was that this time frame would allow, and as we advance to the next slide, you can see some of those deliberative questions that are being posed for the public that we will be putting out, and would love to hear feedback, of course, valuable feedback from the commissioners on these questions and responses, as well as we look to see, you know, if we've missed anything. Are we capturing the right priorities, strategies, activities, etc.? So perhaps then is when the commissioners do the deeper dive.
And I'm going to follow up with another question then. In areas of the draft report, there are sort of X's for percentages of participation or targeting of services towards 7 and 8 or other areas of the draft. Is that going out for the public to solicit input from the public as to what an appropriate percentage would be, or are numbers going to be plugged in there before it goes out?
I believe those are placeholders. They're still working on that information.
So Commissioner Peacock, are you waiting for one of the commissioners then to move to approve the draft so it can go out for public comment? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I thought everyone was reading it, so that's why I was just giving everyone some time.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, whenever you're ready. Now, again, it is a draft, so this is by no means the final version that's been released to the world. Just if, you know, we're ready to have the draft go out for public eyes.
I had a comment on slide 10, which presents a milestone of increasing after-school seats by 62,000 seats. And it's not in the slide deck that we're looking at. It's in in the presentation of the strategic plan. And just thinking about that number and the costs associated with that. I mean, if one student participating in a program costs about, I don't know, $1,800 to $2,000, and $20 million of additional investment. That's a very ambitious mark to put out in a 3-year plan. When I think the first investment by the city is only it's significant at 5 million, but it implies that there would be rather extraordinary jumps in funding in the coming 2 years, and I just wondered whether that was a number that we were really comfortable with as a goal, as a milestone. So anyway, just a thought.
That's excellent feedback.
So I have a comment as well. I haven't had a chance to look in full detail at the the draft strategic plan sent, but I do have a concern as it relates to slide 27, the funding and capacity building, the strategies that are presented. We requested that they be more detailed, like similar to like how slide number 29 is for the outcomes committee. And I just don't see that in slide 27. But I haven't had a chance to, like I said, read through all of the strategies to see if the details that we recommended are somehow in there. But I would feel more comfortable, and I don't know, Commissioner Hill can speak for himself. I just would prefer for that section to be more detailed, as for instance, like how the outcomes committee strategies, like specific strategies. And we can work with Dr. Lowe and Kamitha on that, but that was something that we asked for.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I definitely remember us discussing that as well. Does anyone else have any more comments or feedback on that? Because that is a great point.
Commissioner Hill, just in agreement with Commissioner Crump, a little more time to dig in on it a little bit. Yeah, they've been doing a great work with that and having wonderful conversations.
Sounds good. And my apologies, commissioners. I'm going to plug in my laptop real quick before the battery dies.
I would like to add that I was really impressed by the overall document, the work that's gone into it. And I have questions about a number of items, small and large, just in terms of like the expansiveness of the milestones and that sort of thing, and other minor details throughout, which we will get to in a further discussion. But I do think that just this is a investment of how the work of the office is being presented to the public. So I appreciate the effort that went into doing this plan.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great point. Commissioner Crump, did you have another point? I see your hands raised, but I know you just spoke. So.
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay, no problem. Just wanted to make sure I didn't skip you. Okay, well, Yeah, that's definitely very valuable feedback, everyone. So thank you for chiming in. Is there any more discussion on that, or did we want to move towards a motion?
This is Commissioner Peeler. Can you
Sure.
clarify the process again? So if we're approving a draft, what does that mean? And in terms of, so I think I heard that this exact document is not what's going to be shared publicly, or it is what's going to be shared publicly for comment.
So my understanding of it is that this is a draft to release for the public to see and then make their feedback as we continue to work on it and the document evolves. But Shanna, I don't know if you want to add anything to that or correct me.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well. It would be posted as is on the Learn24 website, included in our biweekly newsletter, and then made available for public commentary from May to August of 2023. And then in September 2023, we would present the final plan for the commission's review and approval. And if you want to move forward another slide, Gaurav, please. There is a timeline that we can see here. The draft out at school time strategic plan would be posted on the Learn24 website, again, included in various communication channels over the next couple months. The goal is to have a final vote and approval of the updated 3-year strategic plan ramp up for FY24. And if sooner, we will need to have special and shortened meetings with public notice focused specifically on the strategic plan.
Great, thank you. And then, so between, let's see, May and August, does that mean, are we meeting as a commission? So will we have additional opportunity during that time period for further discussion, or the next iteration that we would see wouldn't be until September?
There's a meeting on June 22nd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then another one September 28th.
So at the June 22nd meeting, we would have an opportunity to provide additional comment and weigh in. Okay, that makes sense to me.
Sorry, I have a question, Shayna. Is there any, because we're approving something that I don't know how many commissioners on here have had time to read over it. Is there a reason why we have to approve this before June 22nd as opposed to taking time to review it, us give comments to OST, and then approving it at the June 22nd meeting for public comment, or is there a timeline?
Yeah, I'm not sure as far as what Dr. Lowe's vision was outside of the fact that she wanted it to be public from, for a longer period of time. But, if the decision is made through vote tonight not to approve for it to be posted as draft, perhaps then you would have the time and could review, and then we would do that in June.
Yeah, and Commissioner Crump, that's an excellent point. I think the way I was looking at this vote is we're not necessarily voting to approve the strategic plan. We're voting to approve the draft being released for people to have additional input from the community. But if you don't want that released too, I completely understand without having a chance to review it. Not wanting to vote on something that you haven't seen makes perfect sense.
So my only conflict in releasing, I'm not saying I don't want to release, but I can just see the pushback specifically for my committee is if we release it and their inputs, all of the time that they put into giving inputs, and they don't see any of that like specifically addressed, it can cause issues like their voice hasn't been heard in the work that we have been doing. So I personally would want more time to flesh that out to make sure that that is within this. But I'm just understanding why everything is happening, how it's happening.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point, and that's very well articulated as well. Commissioner Berkey?
Yeah, I also think that if the document were to change based on any discussions we might have next month, or additional work done by the office to prepare the document for the public, like putting in percentages and things where there are numbers missing or whatever. It and then the public begins to comment on the document that they've seen, but then some substantial changes are made after they've begun the comment period. I could see some pushback coming from that too, where, wait a minute, you asked us to comment on something, but it's not really what you're planning to vote on. You know, and I second the fact that we do need time when the comment period is over to then address the comment that has come in and make any additional changes on that basis. So I guess we can certainly, I think back to the point of like progress in the meeting is if we need to vote now on whether to hold a vote to move it forward, those of us who have concerns are entitled to vote against that happening. And maybe that's what we need to do to move, you know, to just kind of take that action as a commission.
Definitely. And that's a great point as well.
This is again, Commissioner Peeler. I agree with that, but I don't have full understanding of what the implications are if we don't approve today. So I don't know if there's a way to get more insight about like what effect that would have, like for the office, for the grant programs, so on. So like I wouldn't want to make a decision today that could inadvertently cause a delay in funding or cause a delay in getting, you know, grant applications out or grant RFPs out or what have you.
Yeah, on that note, my understanding of it was that they were trying to get this finalized before the next fiscal year so that those grants can get rolling out. But Shanna, I don't know if you have any more commentary on that.
Yeah, that is my understanding as well. So that's why, you know, approving it in September with the October 1 fiscal start. And so I guess the thought would be if you waited until June to approve it, giving you this month to review it, do we believe that that's enough time, end of June through August, for the public commentary? Because that's where if we stay within the time frame that we would lose a segment of time. So maybe discussion around that would be valid.
And my understanding around it being released to the public as well is that it's not just, you know, where it is now is released. It's as we continue to make updates, we continue to push that out so they can see it as kind of a living document.
Chair Peacock?
Mm-hmm.
There's a comment in the chat box from Commissioner Berkey requesting maybe a 90-day public comment period, such as June, July, August.
To be completely transparent,
that's really only
I don't have
2
an answer to that
months.
one.
2 months if you go June, you know, say June 22nd, it's voted on.
I was just wondering if there was a requirement for a 90-day period, which would mean that we'd have to get it out like by the end of this month in order for there to be June, July, and August for public comment. If that's the case, then in order to meet the September goal, it has to go out. We have to take the vote tonight to move it out, and with the understanding, I think as long as the public is fully aware that it is a living document, as Chairman Peacock described it, then maybe that's the way to be able to continue working with it, as well as getting public comment and producing the final in September.
Commissioner Peeler is inquiring in the chat box if they're allowed to vote by email or conference call next week.
I personally am not opposed to it. I think that's a good idea to give everyone a little bit of time to think on it, but I think the main thing would just be the parameters of if that works within our bylaws having votes outside of the meetings. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it seems like everyone's pretty on the fence about it right now and wants to take another look. So, in my opinion, Commissioner Peeler's suggestion may be the best option.
Perhaps take a vote to see if you want to release it tonight, and if not, then you can determine next steps.
Right.
Chair Peacock, there's another request if anyone has a copy of the bylaws handy.
I don't have it on this computer. I can get a hold of it and send it out though. Let's see. Yeah, we'll double check that. Okay. So for now, as Shannon mentioned, let's go ahead and take a vote on it. Again, if you don't feel comfortable releasing it, please feel free to vote oppose. Anyone who abstains, please feel free to abstain. And let's see, here goes the bylaws. Let me take a look at this real quick. Okay.
Chairperson Peacock, I have it up and it does say for special meetings. Special meetings of the OST Commission may be called by the chair, the vice chair, or at the written request of 2/3 of the members of the OST Commission to the chair with a minimum of 7 business days notice.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, great. With that being said, then we can take a vote. If it does not pass to release it, then, again, feel free to oppose or abstain. But if it does not pass, we can schedule a second meeting once everyone's had time to review it and discuss the document then. Does that sound fair to everyone? Okay. Great. And Kevin, thank you for finding that so quickly. All right. Great. Okay, so we're gonna, can I get a motion to vote on the approval? And this doesn't mean you agree or oppose it, just a motion to vote on it.
This is Commissioner Saffron. I move that we vote on it.
Okay.
This is
Thank
Commissioner Peeler. I second.
Thank you. Okay, wonderful. Okay, Commissioner Berkey.
I'm debating. Okay, this is Commissioner Berkey. I am going to oppose.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Crump.
Oppose.
Thank you. Commissioner Desir.
Oppose, I suppose.
Sorry, one more time.
Oppose.
Oppose. Okay. Commissioner Hill.
Oppose.
Thank you. Commissioner Jenkins.
Oppose.
And I'm gonna abstain from this one. Commissioner Peeler.
Oppose.
Okay. Commissioner Saffron.
Oppose.
Okay. So this one unanimously is opposed. So we can go ahead and schedule a conference call or potentially an email vote if that's possible to vote on this once everyone's had a chance to review it. Now it does have to be at least 7 days out. So how does everyone feel about maybe taking a vote in 2 weeks from today?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Okay.
And maybe with the request, if folks can submit questions in advance, so that we could maybe keep the meeting to an hour.
Sounds good. Okay. Yeah, I would say in general, if you ever have any questions with a document such as this, feel free to email the office so that we can take those into account. I don't think those suggestions or feedback need to wait till the actual OST meetings, so that we can keep things rolling. So yeah, sounds good. I will contact Dr. Lowe as well regarding setting that meeting up. Okay. Does the same time work for everyone? And if there's anyone who it does not work for, please feel free to speak out. Let's see. Commissioner Berkey, great question regarding the point of contact. I will send you the emails for each of those so that we can get that handled. I would say my email is open as well as Dr. Lowe's email, but let me check the rest of the protocol to see who else we can get it to. Typically, I would have said Deborah as well, but she's no longer with us.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there were one person who could receive all the questions and then shoot them back out to us so we can see, what they might be and be prepared to address them in the meeting.
Yeah, with that being said, I would prefer to designate a contact within the OST office so that everything's done by the book as opposed to going through my email.
I would agree.
And also, is there a way that once like the questions are generated, like a questions and answers can be sent out to all, because some of us may have the same questions, or somebody might pose a question that is then make somebody else think. Can we like just get a synopsis of the questions and the answers by a certain date?
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Given that Dr. Lowe is out, I'll need to touch base with her just to see what all is possible and doable. Shanna, do you know when she's supposed to come back?
She'll be back on Wednesday.
On Wednesday. Okay, great. Sounds good. So Commissioner Crump, I will get in touch with Dr. Lowe and get back to you with the process moving forward. But for now, I think that does sound like a good idea to have one designated email within the OST office to submit questions. And then as questions are submitted, we can roll out those answers to try to get everyone on the same page and then have a productive meeting to get a vote on it. With that being said, commissioners, please try to block out some time to review the strategic plan so that we can get things rolling with that, okay?
This is Commissioner Peeler. Maybe we can set a deadline for ourselves to have reviewed and have questions ready to submit by the end of next week. So that would give the team a chance to respond and get something back to us in time for a meeting 2 weeks from now.
Agreed. Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay. So let's see.
And I'm scheduled to meet with, I'm sorry, I was going to say I'm scheduled to meet with Dr. Lowe on Wednesday when she returns, so I can be certain that she is aware of this as well and can send out the email address that she would like everyone to send their questions to by Friday.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and that'll give Dr. Lowe a day or two to catch up as well. That sounds good. Okay, so for now, everyone, the goal is to get your questions submitted or at least formulated in a list by Friday the 2nd. Shannon and I will coordinate with Dr. Lowe to see the best email to get those, and we will update you via the email thread. And then let's plan to host a brief meeting on the 8th so that we can further discuss this and potentially move it forward or make any revisions we need to, or not move it forward if that's what we want to do as well. Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you, Chairman Peacock,
No problem. Thank you
for
all
navigating that.
Thank you. No, I appreciate all the questions and concerns. Seems like this is a good solution for everyone because I completely understand not wanting to vote to release something that you haven't really picked apart, especially known as much time as we invested into putting that strategic plan together initially. I think that was the whole first year of the commission. Okay. Oh, all right. And again, so the next item on the agenda is the individual commission updates.
Yeah, we can get started. We'll move through this very quickly in lieu of time. Gaurav, if you can advance the slide. And to the next slide, I can give an update for Dr. Lowe. Once again, we're in need of nominations for a co-chair role. If there are any current commission members that are interested or that you would like to nominate, please submit your nominations via email to Dr. Lowe. We've also received 3 applications in total as of this meeting to join the commission, and all 3 have been interviewed by Dr. Lowe. We are awaiting final due diligence, vetting, and approval from MOTA before introducing them to the commission. If there are any stakeholders interested in joining the commission, please share the application with them. Someone within the OST office will provide them the link in the comments to apply to join the commission. And I'll do that in just a second. We are especially seeking commissioners from communities that are not currently represented within the commission and who are deeply committed to the work that comes out of our office. So regarding committees as a commission, we will work to approve any new committee members on a quarterly basis. Now I will pass it over to the various committees for their respective updates. Co-Chair Peacock.
All right. Thank you again. Sorry, my computer's moving a little bit slowly with all the tabs open. Okay, great. So now can we have the funding and capacity building update whenever you're ready? Or actually, sorry, we skipped. My apologies. I skipped the coordination and collaboration committee update.
Yeah, go back one slide, Gaurav. Thank you.
Hi, Chair Peacock. I don't believe Commissioner Siegel is present this evening. Commissioner Safran, would you like to provide any updates? I'm happy to support.
We actually reviewed the strategic plan and added some comments of things that we wanted to make sure was part of it. I don't have my notes in front of me, so I couldn't tell you the specific things. So, but I'm trying to think. There weren't many changes, but there were enough that we knew that we wanted to dig in a little deeper in some of the areas and be aligned with some of the other committees.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you for the update. Next for the funding and capacity building update.
Thank you so much, Chair. Good evening, everyone. In regards to funding and capacity building committee, Commissioner Hill, Commissioner Crump's going to jump right in. Very briefly, we met in March 27th, and we had a great group of committee members that were present. Really grateful to our government representative, Kamitha, who was also with us, and she's been taking great notes for us and just being a great ally to some of the work that we're doing. So the committee is still working on the strategic plan, and we sent some information over to Dr. Lowe, and we're looking for some feedback regarding some of the committee members' concerns. Just to echo again, and Commissioner Crump may or may not mention that, and I think that we mentioned in our last committee, I'm sorry, the last commissioners meeting, that some of our decisions and some of the concerns that we had, we felt weren't being heard from the executive director's office. So that was a concern. And again, we appreciate the information that we shared tonight being paused so we can have an opportunity to review. We have some specific concerns related to that document, and we want to make sure that our committee members are heard and that the information is included. So again, we appreciate that unanimous decision by from the board. So we will meet again next week in May, and it's late, the hour's getting late. So just basically that concludes my updates, and Commissioner Crump wants to share her concerns and thoughts. Thank
Yes,
you.
so I'll also be really quick. We did have a lot of meetings, and our subcommittee members are awesome. They have been attending meetings, getting information from constituents. And one of the big concerns was in reference to this bill that was coming out that we were unaware of. And it was brought to our attention, being that Learn 24 is equity is one of our big strong points. So we have subcommittee members who are a part of DC Action, who has organized several meetings in which our subcommittee members have been going to and giving input, but just leveraging conversations about how this bill may implicate small nonprofits, how it can create some inequity as we move forward. So just continuing those conversations and staying in those meetings, our subcommittee members have been doing. So I'm really, really, really excited that we have been talking about this at this committee meeting. And we're looking forward to hopefully figuring out how some of the input that our constituents have and have updated our subcommittee strategic plan, how we can integrate that into the strategic plan for Learn 24 moving forward. And that would be it.
Excellent. Thank you for the update. Next for the quality cohort.
Last meeting we had was in March, but Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong about that. What we focused on was our section of the strategic plan vis-a-vis any insights that might have come from the needs assessment. And we did not make a lot of changes at that time, but we did submit some comments back to Dr. Lowe. And I think we now need to have another meeting, which normally would take place next month. I don't think we've set a date for that, though. Sorry, not a little less productive than usual.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for the update. Sounds good. Next for the outcomes and needs assessment update.
My apologies, that's me again. And I'm just going to quickly say the needs assessment is completed and it's public. We have also updated our portion of the strategic plan and are excited to learn from the public as it relates to the reaction and feedback once we are able to get that out.
Thank you for the update. Sounds good. Okay. The next item is the new calendar dates. There is one amendment to this schedule, as you all know, we will be touching base with Dr. Lowe when she returns. Shannon and I will on Wednesday. Try to have your questions prepared by Friday so we can get those to the OST office. So that will be Friday, check my calendar, Friday, June 2nd. And then we will try to get a call scheduled for 2 weeks from today, which would be Thursday, June 8th at the same time, so that we can further discuss the strategic plan and decide if we want to vote or if we want to make revisions or how we will carry forward from there after everyone has reviewed it. Once we do touch base with Dr. Lowe, we will get back to you about the best email to send those questions to, and if we can get a Q&A as Commissioner Crump had suggested, and I will keep you in the loop. Other than that, our next official meeting will be June 22nd. After that, the next meeting will be September 28th, followed by November 16th, okay? As with this meeting and all of our recent meetings, until further notice, they will be held virtually over Teams. Unless anyone objects, please let us know and we can see if accommodations can be made. Now, other than that, commissioners, are there any additional questions, comments, or business that needs to be discussed before we adjourn? Okay. If not, can we get a motion to adjourn?
Commissioner Hill, I make a motion that this meeting be adjourned, please.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Okay.
Commissioner Peeler, I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Peeler. Wonderful. Pull the votes back up real quick. Okay, I'm having a little bit of a delay getting the roll call votes up. So commissioners, we're going to do this one a little bit different since this vote is typically pretty consistent. Are there any who oppose the motion to adjourn? Okay, are there any who abstain from the motion to adjourn? All right, and all those who approve this motion, please say approve.
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 Okay.
Approve.
Thank you. Well, it sounds like this motion is unanimously approved. So the meeting is adjourned at 7:38 p.m. Commissioners, thank you again for the excellent discussion today. We really value all the feedback, all the positive work you're doing, and just taking this whole thing seriously. You know, it would have been the easy thing to just vote to approve and release the documents out and just, you know, keep things going. But I really respect the fact that everyone wanted to take a deeper look at it and keep things going, keep the discussion open, and put out some quality work. So, you know, let's put this work in, get it done. You know, talk to you soon. We'll have an update for you next week from Dr. Lowe. And thank you again, everyone. Be safe. Enjoy your holiday weekend. And take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you. Yeah. Have a
Thank
great
you.
weekend.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.